Hi guys, today I'm going to be doing a review on the game The Shores of Tripoli. This is a game that is actually based on historical events, and I'll go ahead and share what it is. It says, from the end of the American Revolution, commercial vessels of the young United States Republic were easy prey for the pirates of the Barbary coast. President Thomas Jefferson was eager to put an end to this threat and set a squadron of observations in the Mediterranean. As they arrived, they learned that the bashaw of Tripoli had already declared war. So, we have what is the American side, and then we have the Tripolitan side. Now, this is going to be more of an overview than a full-scale how to play, because there are a lot of different cards in the game, but I'm going to give you an idea of how the game works. And there's a couple of ways you can win depending on what side you're on. What the Americans are going to try to do is they're going to try to either set up what is called Hammond's army over here in Tripoli and clear out Tripoli and basically take over, and that will end up helping them win the game. Or if they are able to get this peace treaty card played, what they'll have to do is they'll have to meet all of these requirements over here. If they're able to do so, they can play this card and they will be able to win the game that way. For the Tripolitans, they're mainly going to be pirating, and if they're able to pirate 12 of these gold coins, they're going to win the game. The other way they're going to be able to win the game is if Hammond's army has been created and they are able to defeat Hammond's army in battle. Also, if the Tripolitans are able to sink 4 American frigates, they will win the game. If it ends up getting to where it says 1806 and it gets to the winter and the year ends, it's going to end up being a draw. So I'll go ahead and show you some of the components on here. We have what are called frigates, and these take 2 hits to sink. And you also have gunboats. These take 1 hit to sink. And for the Tripolitan side, we have what are called corsairs. They take 1 hit to sink, and they're mainly going to be pirating. On top of this, each side has allies. The Americans have the Swedish, and they have 2 frigates here that you'll be able to use. And they're also going to be infantry in this game. The blue represents the American, and the white is going to represent their allies, which are the Arabs. On the Tripolitan side, they have allies in Tangier, Algiers, and Tunis, and they're going to be able to build pirating corsairs in those harbors. So on the board, you've got your different harbors over here. These light areas are what are called naval patrol zones, and what you're going to be using those for is to try to prevent piracy. You also have a year marker over here and a seasonal marker over here. Now, when the United States and the Tripolitans have taken their turn, you're going to go ahead and move this up to the next season, and whenever you get to winter and you start over in spring, you'll go ahead and move this turn marker up like so. Now, in the setup, you're going to have 3 American frigates in Gibraltar, and you're also going to have 2 corsairs from Tripoli in here as well. There is a peace treaty over here, so these 2 are not fighting each other. Along with this, you have dice for each side. You're mainly going to be using these dice for land battles, for ground combat. The Tripolitans are going to be using this for piracy. You'll also be using this for interception rolls to stop the piracy. Now, on top of this, we have a lot of cards, and each side is going to lay out what are called the 3 core cards. Now, you'll be able to play these cards in your turn so long as you are able to meet the requirements of the card, and they're not going to count towards your hand limit of 8 cards. Now, in the very beginning, you're going to go ahead and draw 6 cards here from the top of the deck, and anytime you get to the next year, you're going to draw 6 cards again, up until you get to the end of the year, and you'll just draw all the rest of the cards. But you'll start with 6. So here's what you can do when it is your turn. One thing you can do is you can just simply play a card and resolve what the action is. This one says, take 1 American frigate from the following year and place it in any naval patrol zone. So I could just play that and then take this and move it to whatever patrol zone that I would like to. There are certain cards that you're only going to be able to play during a certain year. This one says spring of 1804, and this is going to allow you to create Hammond's army. There are also some cards that are called battle cards that'll help you in battle. So this one says if there's a naval battle going on, you'll be able to play this card, and this one will help you roll 3 dice instead of 2 when you're doing the battling. Here's another one when there's a certain card that's been played. This one is if the Burn Philadelphia or Launch the Intrepid card's been played, this will allow you to roll more dice. So depending on what the situation is, you'll be able to play different cards. Now, on top of this, you'll also be able to discard a card, and you'll be able to do one of 2 things. You'll be able to move 2 American frigates to a harbor or to a patrol zone. You can do it to anywhere you want. So you can do something like that. Or if you want, you can build a gunboat over here and then place it in Malta. Now, what the gunboats are going to do is they're going to help you with the bombardments. They're going to help you with battling. For the Tripoli side, they have a lot of cards that they can play as well. Here's one that says, select the naval patrol zone that has a frigate. Roll 1 die for each frigate. The first six rolled sinks a frigate. So they have cards that play similar. They're just different. But now they also can discard a card, and they have a couple of things they can do. If they decide to simply discard a card, they can go ahead and raid with all of the Corsairs that they have in Tripoli, or they can build a new Corsair and place it here in the harbor of Tripoli if they would like to. So I'll go ahead and kind of give you an idea how this game works, and we'll just play a few rounds. So let's say it's my turn, and let's just say the first thing I decide to do is I'm going to go ahead and discard this card, not follow the text, and I'm going to go ahead and move 2 of these frigates over here, and that is going to go ahead and end my turn. So now it is Tripoli's turn. So let's just say they decided they're going to go ahead and do a pirate raid. Let's just say they decided to discard this card, and what they're going to do is they're going to go ahead and move their ships over here. For each ship they have, they're going to be able to roll a die, so they'll be able to roll 4 dice. For each frigate, you'll be able to roll 2 dice. So right now, the frigates have 4 dice, and the Tripolitans have 4 dice. Now, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to try to do an intercept, and if I'm able to roll a 6, that will end up sinking a Corsair. So I've rolled, and I did not get any 6s, or none of the Corsairs got sunk. So now, the Tripolitans are going to have a chance to try to pirate a ship. Now, they have to roll a 5 or a 6 to do so. So let's say I roll, I've gotten 1 5. So, the way the game works is you move one of the ships out to the open sea, you collect a gold coin, and then you'll move them all back over here to the harbor. So I've gotten 1 gold coin, and so I've done 1 successful pirate raid, so that will go ahead and end my turn. So now we move over to the summer, and we go again. So I'm going to go ahead and look to see what I can play. So let's say I decide I'm going to play this one. This one says, take any 1 American frigate from the following year and place it in the naval patrol zone. So I'll go ahead and play that. I'm going to follow the text this time, and I'm going to go ahead and place it here in the harbor of Tripoli again. So my turn ends, and it now goes to the Tripoli side. So let's say Tripoli decides to play this one, place 3 Tunisian Corsairs in the harbor of Tunis. So they'll go ahead and play this one and follow that, and they're going to go simply place these Corsairs over here in Tunis, and that again is going to end their turn. So now we move on to fall. So we're looking at the cards here, and let's see what I would like to do. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, I go ahead and I decide I'm going to discard this card, and I'm going to go ahead and play a ship over here in Malta, gunboat. And so that will end my turn, and once again it goes to Tripoli. So Tripoli decides they're going to go ahead and play this one. It says, pirate raid from all ships in the harbor of Tunis. So now, since I've got these, this will give me a chance to try to pirate, and I'm going to roll 3 dice. Nothing. So I did not end up getting anything for that roll, but my turn is going to go ahead and end, and now we go over here to winter. So I'll do one more round here. Let's say I decide, let's go ahead and say I decide to discard this card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these 2 frigates over here to Tunis. Now I also have this. This is going to be a naval battle. So now this says I will be able to roll 3 dice instead of 2 per frigate. So now I'm going to be able to roll 6 dice against them. Now I'll also be able to move the gunboat over there to help. So now I'm going to have 7 dice that I can roll. I'll go ahead and roll them, and let's see what I get. And both players are going to roll the dice at the same time and resolve whatever they have here. So I roll these and roll these. So I've got 1 6, and so this is going to allow me to sink one of the ships. Tunis did not get any hits. Now, if they would have gotten one hit on a frigate, this would have damaged the frigate. In this case, I would put the frigate here on the side, and then at the end of the turn, I will go ahead and move it to the corresponding year, in this case 1802. So anyway, none of them did get injured, so I'm going to place these back like so, and that is going to end the American player's turn. And then it goes back to the Tripolitan side. So this is pretty much how the game works out. I have decided to put one here in the harbor. I'm going to be able to do what is called a bombardment, and this means anytime it's just infantry and no ships. And it takes 1 hit to get rid of an infantry. So I didn't roll anything as that turn, so nothing's going to happen. So what I'll do is I'll move this ship back over here to Malta, and that will end my turn. Now, when it comes to installing Hamet's army, what you're simply going to do, and you have to have a frigate over there in the harbor before you can play this card. So let's just say I happen to have a frigate over here, and I'm going to go ahead and try to build Hamet's army, which is this card. I'm going to go ahead and place 1 Marine and 5 Arab infantry units in the city of Alexandria. So that would be this. Now, throughout the game, there are cards that will help me to move. So here's the way it would work to move. here's a card that says move Hamet's army from Alexandria to Dern, move up to 3 American frigates, and then resolve the battle. So this is going to be a land battle. So I'll move all these guys over here and then move 3 American frigates. So then I will go over here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bombardment. And so I've got 3 frigates. So I have 6 dice. So I've rolled 1 6, so I've managed to take out one of these guys. I'll be able to go ahead and do infantry battle, and this simply means I'll just roll 1 die for each infantry that I have. In this case, I have 6. So I'll go ahead and roll and see if I can get a 6. I got 2 6s, so I will have defeated this army. Now, the other army would have, of course, had a chance to roll, and they didn't get anything. So I will have already taken over Dern, and then these ships will move on. And then there's going to be cards for Benghazi, and then finally the big one, which is the assault on Tripoli, which is this card. And you'll move all the frigates and gunboats, move Hamet's army there, and then you'll resolve the assault on Tripoli. And now when it comes to the Swedish ships, this is the card you'll play for that. This says place 2 Swedish frigates in the naval patrol zone of Tripoli. And this simply means you'll just move these ships over here. They don't engage in any battle. They're just simply there to help with intercepting pirates. So anyway, the game is going to go back and forth like this. And the game is going to end once Tripoli is able to get 12 gold coins if they're able to defeat Hamet's army. The Tripolitans also win if they're able to sink 4 American frigates. And the Americans will win if they're able to get them to sign a peace treaty, or if they are able to get Hamet over here to Tripoli and take over. And that, folks, is Shores of Tripoli. So my final thoughts on the Shores of Tripoli. Well, I'm going to just flat out say it. I really, really like this game. This game is based on real history, and it might be a part of history that not a lot of people know about. But the designer of this game did a really good job, I think. I love the cards. The cards look fantastic. The components are solid. And the cool thing about this game is that each side has different abilities. Each side has different win conditions, and each side has different cards that they can play. Some of the cards you can play immediately. Other cards you're going to have to play at a certain year, or you can play battle cards to help you along the way. And one of the decisions you have to make if you're going to discard one of the cards and use your ability to either pirate or to build vessels or whatever, is you got to think, okay, do I want to keep this card for later, or do I want to try to play it now and do things? So there's a lot of decision making that goes on in this game. This game gives you a lot of options. Now, there are strategies in this game. The Tripolitans, of course, are just trying to pirate and get as much gold as they can fast before the American fleet gets too big. But as the game progresses, the strategies are going to start changing. The strategies are going to start to change. If the Tripolitans can't get the gold, well, then maybe they're going to have to try to stop Dern's army or try to even get to a draw. So there's a lot of different things that are going on in this game, and I really like that a lot. I definitely think that anybody who is a fan of history will really like this game. It's a solid game. I like it, and I would definitely recommend it to anybody who's a fan of war games, a fan of maybe history games. And this game has a very good solo mode too. I've played it, and it's solid. So guys, that's my review of Shores of Tripoli. We'll see you later. Keep on gaming.